Now this is a video for all Roma fans because you've just signed yourself a striker that's worth £100 million. Yes, £100 million. Well, that's how much Brighton wanted for him. After Evan Ferguson had his breakthrough campaign in 2022-2023 as a striker, he had it all. Goals, flair, trickery. A striker that could score you a goal from everywhere. But what happened? Where did it go wrong? In this video, we will be breaking down Evan Ferguson's overall game, what Roma fans can look forward to, and why there's still so much promise in this young Irishman. Now, there's two reasons why I'm so optimistic over Evan Ferguson joining Roma. One, the player's overall ability. And two, Gasperini. Gasperini has shown throughout his career, I am the one coach that can turn a Fiat into a Ferrari. But Evan Ferguson is more than a Fiat. And because of that, his ability to explode in Stadio Olimpico is beyond our reach. And I genuinely feel like this season, he will surprise a lot of people. Now, this was definitely a transfer video that I never ever thought I would be making. Evan Ferguson to Roma. To Gasperini's Roma. Roma that have just won 14-0. A Roma team under Gasperini that I expect the productivity levels to triple, let alone quadruple. Roma are going to score a lot of goals under Gasperini. And Evan Ferguson, let's just say his nickname is Goals. What do I make of this deal? 3 million with a 37 million clause if Roma want to make him a permanent signing. Evan Ferguson, for me, for somebody that actually watched him during his time at Graham Potter, then when Roberto De Zerbi came in, and then Fabian Hurtzler, and then he went once again to Graham Potter at West Ham last season. Ferguson is one player that 3 years ago, if you turned around and told me this is how his career would go, I would never ever believe you. This guy was a £100 million striker. He was scoring goals. He was at the age of 18. He could score you every single type of goal. Left foot, right foot, header. He could play on the transition. He was the perfect striker. And he was English on top of that. So in the Premier League, if you're English, you have to pay a premium. Clubs wanted him. Top clubs in the Premier League wanted him. I believe Tottenham was the team that inquired about his services the most. They were told £100 million for Evan Ferguson. Now, of course, they stayed away. And everybody turned around and said, imagine, you could have got him now for £100 million. But if he stays on the current form and the current growth, he might even be a £150 million striker next summer. That hasn't been the case. That hasn't been the case. And now he ends up in Roma. Now he ends up with Gasperini. What do we make of it? What do we make of it? Now, I believe Premier League fans are familiar with Evan Ferguson. Fans outside of the Premier League are not really too familiar with him. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. 2 to 3 years ago, I bought into everything that Evan Ferguson had to offer. I kid you not, when he popped onto the scene at the age of 18, I was like, this truly might be one of those players that goes on to break the Premier League goal scoring record. This is a guy that Brighton could probably sell for about 80, 90 to 100 million with ease. What Evan Ferguson done at the age of 18 in the Premier League, it was so impressive. And that's why I don't want people to look at the numbers and say, well, what's impressive about 8 goals? What's impressive about 6 goals? I think it's more the caliber of the goals. The goals that he was scoring are not goals that you see 18-year-olds scoring. He just had it all in the final third, like scoring a hat-trick against Newcastle, left foot, right foot, header, little flicks around the keeper. He was genuinely one of the most complete strikers at the age of 18. Now, where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? Number one, I feel like he's definitely paid the price with a big injury. He had an ankle injury which took him out of the team for just under a year. Number two, once you've been out for so long and you come back into a team, they've got themselves a new coach, new philosophy, new formation. And every new coach comes with his own demands. I want this striker. I want that midfielder. I want that defender. None of these coaches really owed anything to Evan Ferguson to turn around and say, you are going to be my main striker. For example, when you look at like Fabian Hurtzler, Ruta from Leeds for, I believe, 40 million, Joao Pedro, these are players that have to start. These are players that have to start ahead of Evan Ferguson because they are the marquee signings. I believe Joao Pedro came in when De Zerbi was there for his final year. The marquee signing will always come before the academy prospect, the academy product. And Evan Ferguson, because of that, he went down the pecking order. But I would genuinely be a liar if I sat down and told you guys, this kid doesn't have promise. And me, I don't have faith in him. Like, when I saw the links of him, Roma, Gasperini, I was like, this is what's going to revive his career. This is what's going to revive his career. And I mainly say this because of somebody like Gasperini. Gasperini, throughout his entire career, especially during his time at Atalanta, he showed the whole world, I can turn unwanted assets into wanted assets. I can turn a Fiat into a Ferrari. I can turn a guy that doesn't score goals into one of the best goal scorers. Like, the prime example that I could always use when it comes to somebody like Gasperini, especially when it comes to players that have come from the Premier League. Scamacca came from Sassuolo to West Ham in the Premier League, and I kid you not, he couldn't even score 5 league goals. He was a great footballer, don't get me wrong. Like, his ability to strike the ball from distance, his ability to drop deep, connect the dots. Scamacca couldn't do it in the Premier League, especially under somebody like David Moyes. Like, it genuinely was a recipe for failure, and it failed. Then you look at somebody like Ademola Lookman. If anybody turned around and said that Ademola Lookman that was at Fulham and his level of performances would leave, go to Gasperini and become one of the best wingers in the world, people would laugh at you. People would genuinely sit down and laugh at you like you're a clown. And I'll be honest with you guys, Scamacca, I saw the ability because I saw what he had to offer at Sassuolo. But Ademola Lookman, I never ever looked at his career and said, yeah, he's going to go on to be one of the best wingers in the world. He's going to go on to be one of the most feared players in this area. He's, at the moment, on his way to Inter. I never ever looked at Ademola Lookman like that. But once again, you put Lookman in the hands of Gasperini, and we all saw what happened. 2 players that were in the Premier League, they didn't tear it apart. They went to Gasperini's system, and they genuinely became one of the best. Now, Scamacca, of course, has had injuries. Lookman has been tearing it apart. I look at Evan Ferguson in the same manner. Evan Ferguson is a good player. We saw earlier from the type of goals that he could score. He's still young. Like, it's not as if he's 28, 29 with not much to offer. Evan Ferguson is a very good player, and I feel like he's paid the price due to the chopping and changing of managers, the chopping and changing of play styles, of systems. And I feel like De Zerbi was catering him, developing him to become the striker that can drop deep, connect the dots. Evan Ferguson shined really well under somebody like Graham Potter because he used him more of an outlet. I'm going to have somebody drop deep. You be the player that runs in behind, that plays in the opposition box. De Zerbi wanted to utilize him in a completely different way. This is actually a signing which I'm going to monitor so well this season at Roma. Because as a footballer, you are genuinely signing yourself one of the players that can strike a ball so well. Like a player where it's not just me that had this opinion of him where he could genuinely go on and break the Premier League record. He could go on to be one of the best strikers in the world. He is somebody that Brighton will ask for over £100 million for, and nobody would have disputed it. Nobody would have looked at you and said, you are a madman. Evan Ferguson for that much? What Evan Ferguson done in 2022, in 2023, if he had maintained it, we would be speaking about him now as one of the best strikers. But of course, football doesn't really work like that. It really doesn't. Setbacks, injuries, mental health, all of these things play a massive part in a player's drop-off. But I look at him now and I say, at the age of 20, Roma, new environment, new coach, around some of the best of players, around one of the best of coaches in terms of developing young stars and developing attacking players, I'm really going to keep my eye on this. But in summary, Roma have actually gotten themselves, in my opinion, a coup. Like a bargain if he could replicate what we saw in a Brighton shirt. But it's going to come down to Gasperini, how well he can nurture him. He does still need further developing. But I'll be honest with you guys, if there was one coach in this area that I could say you can fix Evan Ferguson, it probably would be Gasperini. Now, if you're new, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one